double cuts on commercial vinyl. This wall covering is beautiful stuff, but it's thick. So if you cut it, what I mean by cutting it is we're overlapped. Can you come on my left? I want to show them something. Anybody who hangs wallpaper knows that these commercial murals are products which have to be double cut. So that is that there is a bleed and a live portion of your wallpaper. Your bleed is that portion of wallpaper that goes beyond the perimeter of the live. So it's extra. 2 inches on the left, 2 inches on the top, 1 inch to 2 inches overlapping. So in this case, we only have 1 inch overlap. Now, can you come over here and show them straight ahead? Come close, please. These things were so difficult to line up. They were very difficult. And so, if you look, you see you create a ripple and then it matches up. The bottom was matching up, then the top didn't match, then I got the top matching and the bottom didn't. But once you get it, you got it. A couple of pointers. Number one, just hold the camera right there. If you take your smoother, which is something I've done in the past, and you're all matched up and you try to match it up, like you're off 3/16 somewhere, and you go like this, and then you create that buckle, and then you match it up. You think you did a good job, but you didn't. What you did was you bruised the wallpaper at the seam. We're at Tampa International Airport, and one thing you want to do with seams, particularly overlapped seams, is to stay away from them. You don't want to be rubbing anything because you're going to mar the surface. This creates friction. Friction creates heat, and heat dulls the sheen of the wallpaper. It dulls the sheen. And it may look great head on, but as soon as you look at your wallpaper from an angle, you see your error. And you should only do it once, because you should know what happened. And that is, you bruised the vinyl. And so you can get air out just by gently going like this, look. Just gentle. Because it's overlapped, and if you keep making friction on the underlap, let me exaggerate it. What do you think would happen if I kept rubbing this here? Right? You create a white mark, and you'll never get rid of it. Okay? So, this is really under this, right there. And so we just gently do it, if anything at all. So that's a tip. I just wanted to tell you. Now, let's double cut this, okay? We're gonna start out with double cut about 1 inch from the top with this. Because I can't get my single edge device. They should make these single edge. They don't. But when you're cutting this stuff, you want a single edge blade because it's really thin. This is a little thicker than a single edge, but I can't get the tool at the top, so I'm gonna have to use this. So, here's what I'm gonna do. Let's just come in. I'm gonna use this as a guide. Come in this way, right behind me. doing a double cut, the edge of the wallpaper is your guide, and the laser is telling me how well I'm straight, and it's pretty good, because if you're not straight, when you cut it, it's gonna mismatch. So here's tip number 2. If it's matching up here, if you're good, you want to cut it as close to the edge as possible, because if you're off just a bit, you're going to be more off it the more you go away from the edge. Okay, I'll see you on the next frame. Okay. Now you don't want this extended too far. If it starts flexing on you, it's going to affect the cut negatively. Okay, that's as far down as I want to go with that. Okay. Usually we move a lot quicker, but with all of these connections, take your time. Doesn't pay. People want to be cowboys and go quick. Good for you. I don't. I could have gotten 3. I could have busted 3 seams already. Good for you. Now, under the wallpaper, I should tell you, is a clear acrylic primer, and it's been on it for a week. The longer the better. Clear acrylic. Why acrylic? It's hard, and it's not going to stop a blade, but it's going to lock the wall down so the wall doesn't come up when you double cut it. Your primer could come off the wall from being wet from the paste. So in order to prevent that, you want to have a good membrane of acrylic over the wall, so that when you do this double cut and you pull off the second piece underneath it, it doesn't take the paint or your primer with it. In my opinion, 1, 2, 3 is notorious for not preventing the wall from coming apart. Okay. Just like at the top, I use this blade, so I will use it at the bottom. Okay. So now that's our overlap. Here's our underlap. This is what I mean. When you're pulling this off, if you don't use an acrylic primer, paint will be on this thing. It's a terrible mistake. And to figure it out when you're doing a double cut, and then you think you're gonna put it back together, by the next day when it all dries, it's gonna look like Frankenstein. So those are the tips. I think I gave you 3 tips. So let me wash this off and show you our seam on the next frame.
I didn't recognize.